Cantonese style of cuisine is one of the 8 most popular traditional cuisines of China. Today on Spicebox, I will show you how to prepare a Cantonese style dish that is super simple but very flavorful. Beautiful purple and green cabbage are stir-fried with onions, cucumbers and carrots and served in a lightly spiced sauce. Let's look at the ingredients that we require. I have half a purple cabbage that I've cut into large chunks like this. Same with green cabbage. I have capsicum that have been cut into diagonals, carrots that are in rondelles, 3 onions that have been quartered, about half a cucumber that has been cut into 1-inch pieces. I'll require 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, vinegar, red chili sauce or green chili sauce, a bit of sugar, salt and pepper to taste, and a teaspoon of soy sauce. We're ready to cook our Cantonese style vegetables. So first heat your pan, make sure it's nice and hot. Add about 2 teaspoons of oil. And then add your first vegetable. We're going to individually cook each one of these vegetables and then remove them and finally make the sauce. So add the onions. Now we're going to cook this just until it lightly browns. We want it to retain some of its crunch, so it just takes maybe a minute or 2 and that's about it. Our onions have cooked. Remember, we don't want to overcook these vegetables. They should remain crunchy. We're just slightly browning them so that they don't have a raw flavor. Now you could use even spring onions if you don't want to use regular onions. Next, I'm going to cook my carrots. Again, add a teaspoon or 2 of oil and add the carrots. Stir it and then let it cook for again a minute or 2. As you can see, our carrots are cooked. We used really thin slices, so you can see there's a little browning along the edges, so we know it's done. Remove this as well. Now the key to this is that you cook each of them individually and then we'll bring them together when we make our sauce. This is a very subtle dish. It doesn't use too many spices, so the flavors of the vegetables must come out and shine, because that is what Cantonese cooking is all about. So next, go in our cabbage. So I'm going to add the green cabbage first. And toss it on a high flame for a minute or 2. It should remain green. Our cabbage has changed color. It's a beautiful green. Remove this. Next, go in our red cabbage. Again, a teaspoon or 2 of oil and add the cabbage as well. Just leave it there for about a minute. As you can see, we have nice brown edges to the cabbage, so it's time to remove it. Just look at that intense, beautiful purple color. It's going to look so attractive on the platter. Add a little bit more oil. And next, go in our capsicum. This will barely take 30 seconds to a minute, so make sure you just keep stirring it on a high heat, because we need for it to stay nice and crunchy. Once your capsicum gives out an aroma, you'll know it's time to remove that as well. Just remove it all into the plate. Just look at this beautiful plate. Finally, in goes a little bit of oil and the cucumbers. Now in Chinese, they love to cook their cucumbers. We are normally used to eating it raw, but it gives such a beautiful flavor, and the Chinese believe that this is a very curing, healthy vegetable. It helps reduce diabetes, hypertension, so they include it a lot in their cuisine. Our cucumbers are now done. They don't take too long to cook as well. They take just about as much time as the capsicum, which is just under a minute. Just look at this beautiful medley of vegetables on this platter. It is going to make such a delicious flavored dish. Next, we'll make our sauce. We are now ready to make our sauce. There's already some oil that's in the pan, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of the soy sauce, all of the chili sauce. Today I have chosen to use red chili, but you could also use green chili if you'd like. Add a little bit of salt. Remember, the soy sauce and the chili sauce have some salt already, so just be careful. Next, add your pepper, some sugar. Now you really won't taste the sugar. The sugar is added to counterbalance the vinegar, the sour from the vinegar. So in goes the vinegar. And just let this cook for a minute. Our sauce has come together. This is the base for our sauce. Now we're going to add about a cup to cup and a half of water and let this come to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, we'll add our cornstarch to thicken it and then immediately the vegetables. While our sauce comes to a boil, we'll go ahead and make our cornstarch slurry. Now just be sure that you don't add too much of cornstarch, otherwise it becomes very glutinous. And if you have noticed, we've not used any ginger, garlic or green chilies, coriander, spring onions. That's because Cantonese style of cooking really doesn't use too much of herbs and spices. They like the simplicity in their dishes and they like their meats and vegetables to come out and give the flavor to the dish. So as you can see, it's almost come to a boil. So just make sure everything is incorporated and then add your cornstarch slurry and keep mixing until you get a beautiful thick velvety textured sauce. In a minute the sauce will be ready. Now the sauce shouldn't be too thick or too thin. It should be slightly watery, like this kind of texture as you can see, just thick enough. So once it comes to a boil, we give the cornstarch a minute to cook and then we will turn off the flame. So now we're going to take our platter of vegetables. You have two options, one of two options. Either you can dunk all this straight into this and give it a good mix, or you could place it on a platter very artistically and then add the sauce on top. Either way it will be good. So on the side goes some capsicum, then go our carrots, I'll add some cabbage. Just look at the beautiful colors on this platter. Next go the green cabbage, the onions, and finally you can add some of the cucumbers. Now using a nice deep ladle, just go ahead and drizzle the sauce all over the vegetables. Now this is a very healthy dish. If you want, you could always spice this up and add like coriander leaves or mint. You can also add ginger garlic, but that's not traditional Cantonese, so I did not use it today. And you could always add some more green chilies. I always serve with a side of green chilies and vinegar and some hot sauce so that if anybody likes it spicy, they could always add. And there you go. How perfect is that?